You know that weird little moment when you open your banking app, just to check something real quick, and your stomach does that tiny drop? Like you swear you've been pretty good lately. You didn't buy anything crazy. No designer bags. No new TV. You even said no to brunch once, which, honestly, should earn you some sort of financial medal. And yet somehow your account balance looks like it's doing that thing where it slowly backs away from you like, hey, I don't know her. So you start replaying the month in your head like it's a crime documentary. Okay, rent. Utilities. Groceries. Normal. Then it's like, wait. How did I spend $184 at Target when I only went in for toothpaste? And then you see it. The little charges. The tiny ones. The 6.99 and 12.43 and 4.28 that barely register individually, but together? Together they're basically a coordinated team effort to keep you living in that annoying space where you're not broke, but you're also never ahead. And yeah, you can call it lifestyle creep, or bad budgeting, or not making enough. But a lot of the time it's something sneakier, hidden money leaks. Quiet financial drips that don't feel like a problem, until you zoom out and realize they've been flooding your life for years. My name is Nick, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, like the psychology of it, the weird emotional traps, the habits people don't notice until they're already stuck. And if you've ever felt like your paycheck disappears faster than it should, I promise you're not alone. Because today I want to walk you through 7 hidden money leaks that keep people broke, not in a stop buying coffee way, but in a real-life, modern world, you're exhausted and just trying your best kind of way. And here's the transformation I'm aiming for. By the end of this video, you're going to start seeing your spending like you've been given night vision goggles. You'll spot the leaks that don't show up in your budget spreadsheet. You'll understand why they happen, even when you're smart. And you'll have a few simple moves that can genuinely change how your money behaves, without turning your life into a joyless coupon-cutting monastery. Because what if you're not bad with money? What if you're just bleeding cash in places no one taught you to look? Alright. Let's talk about the first leak. 1. The convenience tax. You pay when you're tired. Let's be honest, modern life is basically engineered to monetize your exhaustion. You wake up tired. You work tired. You come home tired. And then at 8:47 p.m. your brain goes, I cannot cook. I cannot think. I cannot even choose something complicated. So you order food. Or you Instacart groceries instead of going yourself. Or you Uber because the idea of parking feels like an emotional burden. And listen, none of this makes you weak. It makes you human. But it's also one of the sneakiest money leaks because it hides behind a totally reasonable sentence. I'm just paying for convenience. And you are. But you're also paying for frequency. Here's a quick story. I had a friend, smart, hardworking, not reckless, who kept saying he couldn't save. He wasn't buying dumb stuff. He wasn't gambling. He wasn't out here buying jet skis. So we looked at his spending together, and it was like death by 1,000 tiny delivery fees. Not the meals themselves. The fees. Delivery fee. Service fee. Tip. Small order fee. We're a tech company so we can charge whatever we want. Fee. He was paying like 15 extra, multiple times a week. And when you multiply that out, that's not convenience anymore. That's a subscription to staying stuck. Why it matters to you? Because convenience spending usually hits when your willpower is lowest, meaning it bypasses your I'm trying to be responsible brain. And it creates this cycle where you're always paying extra because you're tired, which makes you have less money, which makes you more stressed, which makes you more tired. It's like a snake eating its own paycheck. The simple breakdown: convenience isn't the problem. Unplanned convenience is. Planned convenience is. I will do takeout twice a week and I budgeted for it. Unplanned convenience is. I'm tired again, so I guess we're doing this. And it happens 12 times. What to do, without becoming miserable, pick one convenience category to cap, not eliminate. For example, if food delivery is the leak, decide on 2 delivery nights a week, period. If rideshare is the leak, set a rideshare only after 10 p.m. rule. If grocery delivery is the leak, keep it, but switch to pickup or batch orders. And here's my favorite trick: create a lazy meal list. Not Pinterest meals. Not aspirational meals. I'm talking frozen dumplings, eggs and toast, rotisserie chicken plus bag salad, ramen upgraded with a handful of greens, microwave rice plus canned beans plus salsa, meals that require the least emotional effort possible. Because your tired self is going to win arguments. So you might as well negotiate with them in advance. 2 subscriptions you stopped using. But never stop paying. This one is so common it almost feels like a rite of passage. You sign up for something with a free trial. You fully intend to cancel. You even tell yourself, I'll cancel tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes, I'll deal with it later. And then one day you're 14 months deep into paying for an app that teaches you Italian, even though you have not said a single Italian word except gelato. And the money is gone quietly. No pain. No drama. Just drip. 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 Story/example: I once went through my own bank statements and found a subscription I didn't even recognize. It was only like $9.99. So I ignored it. Then I got curious and searched my email and realized it was some productivity tool I used for 2 weeks during a brief identity crisis where I thought I was going to become a highly optimized person. I was not. I was still me. But I paid for that fantasy version of me every month. That's what subscriptions really are sometimes. Tiny monthly payments to a life you imagined you'd be living. Why it matters: subscriptions feel small. But they're consistent. And consistent spending shapes your entire financial life more than occasional big purchases. A 12 subscription doesn't feel like anything. But 12 by 10 subscriptions x 12 months? Now you're funding an entire vacation for your streaming services. Simple breakdown: there are 3 subscription types: utility subscriptions, internet, phone, hard to avoid value subscriptions, Netflix if you actually watch it, fantasy subscriptions, you mean to use it. Fantasy subscriptions keep people broke because they're invisible and emotionally protected. Actionable takeaway: do a subscription audit. In 20 minutes, search your bank/credit card for recurring, monthly, or sort by merchant. Cancel anything you haven't used in 30 days. For anything you might use, cancel it anyway and set a calendar reminder in 2 weeks. If you miss it, resubscribe. If you don't, you just saved money with 0 suffering. Also, switch annual plans only for things you've used consistently for 6 months. Don't prepay for your future self's motivation. They're unreliable. We love them. But they're unreliable. 3. The I deserve it spending spiral. This leak is emotional, which makes it powerful. It usually sounds like, I've had a hard week. I deserve a little treat. This is self-care. I never buy things for myself. And again, sometimes that's true. Sometimes you should treat yourself. But the leak happens when I deserve it becomes the default response to stress. Because then you're not buying the item. You're buying relief. Example/story: imagine you've had a brutal day. Boss was weird. Emails were piling up. Your brain is fried like a cheap battery. So you stop at a store or open Amazon or scroll TikTok shop and suddenly you're purchasing something that promises to make your life feel softer. A candle. A hoodie. A gadget. A skincare thing. And for a moment it works. You feel in control. You feel like you're taking care of yourself. But then your bank account shows you the receipt of your coping mechanism. Why it matters: because you can't out-budget emotional spending if you don't address the emotion. And if you're constantly spending to soothe stress, your finances become a mirror of your mental load. Simple breakdown. I deserve it spending is basically this: stress, purchase, relief, repeat. It's not about the thing. It's about the pattern. What to do, without turning into a robot: replace the purchase with a pause ritual. Not a never buy anything rule. Just a speed bump. Try this. When you want the treat, put it in your cart. Walk away for 24 hours. If you still want it tomorrow, buy it guilt-free. This does two things. It separates emotion from action. It proves to your brain you're still allowed pleasure, just not impulsive pleasure. Also, create a self-care menu. That isn't just spending. Shower plus clean clothes plus early sleep, 20-minute walk with music, calling a friend a cheap treat budget. You plan for monthly planned treats, don't create guilt. Impulse treats create debt and confusion. 4. The silent interest leak, aka paying extra for the privilege of being broke. This one is brutal because it's not even a bad choice, sometimes. It's just how the system works. If you carry credit card balances, use buy now pay later, overdraft, payday loans, or constantly pay late fees, you're basically paying a tax for not having cash. And it's a cruel loop. You don't have extra money, you use credit, you pay interest, now you have even less extra money. Story/example: I've seen people making decent incomes who still feel broke because they're hemorrhaging money through interest. Like, you're paying $220 a month, and your balance barely moves. That's not having debt. That's renting money. Why it matters: interest is a money leak that doesn't feel like spending. You don't get anything for it. No product. No memory. No value. It's just a drain. And it steals your future options. Simple breakdown: interest and fees are what happen when yesterday's spending keeps charging you today. Actionable advice: the goal isn't perfection. The goal is stopping the bleeding first. Order of operations: build a mini buffer, even 500, 1,000 prevents overdrafts and late fees. Pay off highest interest debt aggressively, avalanche method. Call and negotiate. Ask for late fee reversals. Request lower APR. Set up hardship plans if needed. And if you're overwhelmed, pick one debt and make it your escape hatch. Knock it out fully. Momentum matters emotionally. 5. Grocery leakage, the food you buy. Then throw away. This leak is so boring it's almost offensive. Like, it's not flashy. It's not fun. It's just you throwing away spinach. But it's real. People don't usually overspend on groceries because they're greedy. They overspend because they shop with optimism. They buy for the person who meal preps. They buy for the person who cooks. They buy for the person who is not exhausted on Wednesday night. Example/story: you ever open the fridge and see that bag of salad you were so excited about, and it's basically soup now? Yeah. That's grocery leakage. Not just the wasted food, but the second trip you make because you didn't have a plan, and you buy random stuff again, and suddenly you've done 3 grocery trips in a week. Why it matters: groceries are one of the biggest flexible categories in most budgets. And small changes here can free up serious cash without lowering quality of life. Simple breakdown: the problem isn't groceries. It's groceries plus no system. Actionable advice: try the 2-zone grocery method. Zone 1. Repeat staples. You always eat these: eggs, yogurt, rice, chicken, frozen veggies, fruit you actually finish. Zone 2. Experiments: 1 or 2 new recipes max. Also, shop your fridge before you shop the store. And pick a use it up night each week where dinner is just whatever is about to go bad. It's like an episode of Chopped, but the prize is being less broke. 6. Car home micro neglect. Small problems that turn into expensive ones. This is the adult version of ignoring a weird sound in your car and hoping it goes away. Micro-neglect is when you don't fix small things because you don't have time or money, and then they become big things that cost more time and money. Story/example: skipping oil changes. Ignoring tire pressure. Not changing air filters. Putting off a minor plumbing leak. It's always something tiny. Until it isn't. Why it matters: micro-neglect creates surprise expenses, the ones that wipe out your progress right when you're finally feeling stable. And surprise expenses are what make people say, "I can't get ahead," even when they're trying. Simple breakdown: maintenance is boring. But it's cheaper than emergencies. Actionable advice: create a boring adult calendar. Car maintenance reminders, annual insurance, shopping reminder, filter replacements, basic home checks, and start a sinking fund. Tiny amounts monthly, for car repairs, medical, gifts, etc. It's not exciting, but it prevents the emotional chaos that leads to the next leak. 7. Social spending you don't actually enjoy, but feel like you have to do. This one hits people quietly. You say yes to things because you don't want to be the broke friend. Or because you don't want to miss out. Or because you feel like adulthood is basically just paying to maintain relationships. And sometimes it is, yeah. But there's a difference between meaningful social spending and spending that leaves you depleted financially and emotionally. Example/story: you ever go to an expensive dinner, and everyone's ordering drinks and appetizers and you're smiling like, this is fun. But inside you're calculating the bill like you're doing advanced calculus? And then you go home and feel weirdly empty? That's the leak. Not the dinner itself, the disconnect. Why it matters: if your social life is built on spending beyond your comfort zone, you'll always feel behind. And you'll start resenting people you actually like, which is a sad side effect no one talks about. Simple breakdown: social pressure makes spending feel mandatory. But it isn't. Actionable advice: try these scripts. I'm down, but I'm keeping it low-key. Can we do coffee instead? I'm on a budget this month, but I still want to see you. I'll come, but I'm not drinking tonight. Good friends won't punish you for being responsible. And if someone does, that's not a money problem. That's an information problem about that relationship. Also, suggest cheaper defaults: walks, home dinners, game nights, potlucks. You don't need to pay $19 for guacamole to feel connected to people. So here's the thing. Most people don't stay broke because they're dumb. They stay broke because their money is leaking in places that feel normal. Convenience spending when you're tired. Subscriptions you forgot. Treat yourself purchases that are really just stress relief. Interest and fees that quietly punish you for not having margin. Groceries bought with optimism and thrown away with guilt. Small maintenance issues that explode into big financial setbacks. And social spending that you agree to with a smile, and pay for with anxiety later. And if you're sitting there thinking, okay Nick, cool, but this is a lot. I get it. Honestly, the point isn't to fix all 7 at once. That's not how real life works. The point is to notice them. Because once you can see the leaks, you stop blaming yourself in that vague, hopeless way. You stop thinking, I'm just bad with money. And instead you start thinking, oh, there's a hole. That's fixable. Pick one leak. Just one. Patch it. Even halfway. And watch what happens over the next month. Not just to your bank account, but to your sense of control. Because being not broke isn't just about having more money. It's about having fewer moments where you're scared to check your balance. It's about sleeping a little better. It's about making decisions from a calm place instead of a panicked one. And you deserve that. Not in a go buy something way. In a you deserve stability kind of way. So yeah, start small. Stay gentle with yourself. But start. Because the quiet truth is, money doesn't usually disappear in one dramatic event. It disappears in tiny leaks. And you're fully capable of turning off the tap.